Hello everyone, my name is Matthew Crick and welcome to another edition of ADU Workshop. Today we're going to talk about zoning and whether or not you can build an accessory dwelling unit on your property here in Denver. I'm going to take you through a few quick steps on how you can check to see if an accessory dwelling unit is allowed and what the site restrictions are per zoning. So let's say you're on Zillow or Redfin or whatever you use, and you find a nice property. This house has a kind of a weird entry, some questionable paint choices, but look at this backyard. This backyard would be perfect for an ADU. I mean, it's nice and wide, it's open, overhead lines look kind of like the other way. This would be great. Now sometimes on Zillow it might say, ADU friendly or zoning allowed. This one doesn't look like it says that. It does look the zoning, which is good. Not every Zillow one will even say the zoning. But what I would normally do, say if none of that information is available, copy paste this and go to denvergov.org/maps/zoning right here. Type in your address, hit search. Okay, so here's 3441 North Columbine Street. Zone district is USUB1, that stands for Urban Single Unit B1. Click on that, and that'll take you to the Community Development Planning page. You have to kind of go through their navigation here, but click on Urban, because that's what this site was in. And Urban Single Unit B1, here we go. If it's 4,500 square feet, then an accessory dwelling unit is allowed. There we go. So that's good news. And let me just give you a tip here. If basically what you're looking for accessory dwelling units is a 1 at the end. So if it has a 1 suffix at the end, it allows for accessory dwelling units. If it has a 2, it allows for duplexes and accessory dwelling units. So look out for those numbers at the end of your zoning code, and you can kind of figure it out from there. There are a few exceptions, of course. 2-unit or tandem unit, those allow for ADUs a lot of the time, or RH is row house, those allow for ADUs as well. And the numbers, those actually don't, that means something else for the stories. So look for those numbers at the end, or look for tandem unit or row house. And what I've done, actually, is I've got how to make a map of that. In GIS, we made some mapping software. I listed all the different zones that I knew of that allowed for ADUs, and then I plotted it out on Denver here. And you'll see actually a lot of Denver doesn't allow for ADUs. It's unfortunate. But what they did when they made the form-based code is they allowed different neighborhoods to opt in or to not allow for ADUs, and not a lot of neighborhoods did. But there's a few pockets here and there that do allow for ADUs, and I'm hoping with Blueprint Denver that this map starts to fill in a lot more. That was listed in Blueprint Denver, but it's kind of yet to happen. So let's jump into the zoning code. This is where it gets fun. The zoning code can be intense. You don't need to look at all of it if you're just thinking about ADUs. What I would do is look into your type of zoning specifically here at the beginning. This is page 7 or 5.2.1. And then scroll down. We were urban single unit B1, right? So this one says the minimum zone lot size is 4,500 square feet, and typical blocks are 37.5 feet wide. But it does allow for ADUs, so it says it right here. And then for ADUs, there's a 2-page cut sheet for what ADUs, how they have to fit. The form of it has to fit on a lot. You'll notice it says A, B, C, D. Take those, relate down to a chart down here. Scrolling down. Okay, so the stories, it says 1.5. That's across the board here. What that means is if you have, it makes you take a 25% setback on your upper story. So if you had a 1,000 square foot garage on the first floor, your upper story would have to be 750 square feet. So that's that 25% reduction. So I think it really should say 1.75, but I don't know. They listed 1.5, but that's what that means. This is your height, 24 feet. Again, every ADU has to be 24 feet or lower. And then your bulk plane is 10 feet, and there's a 45-degree angle. Let me scroll up to show that one. Basically what that means is you draw this imaginary line that goes up 10 feet, and then you take a 45-degree angle and you cut over here. And so that's your bulk plane, and your ADU has to fit within that bulk plane. It's a little bit confusing, but they're basically trying to force you to make a pitched roof on your property, to make something like that. They don't want tall, flat roofs, basically. Here's a kind of a trickier area. So you have to find your zoning, right? And then you have to make sure that you fit the minimum zone lot size. I've had a lot of friends or clients that come to me and ask, can I do it on their property? And it says it's zoned for an ADU, but then they find out that their lot's not big enough. So you have to make sure that your zone lot size meets the minimum for that zoning code. And then you got to make sure that this is the maximum building footprint coverage. So this says if your, let's say right here, if your lot is 3,000 square feet, 50% of that would be 1,500 square feet. And if the house is in the front of the property is 1,000 square feet, that only leaves you with 500 square feet behind it for the ADU. And building an ADU with 500 square feet would be tough. So make sure you look into that, and basically you have to figure out how big the house is and how big the lot is to figure out how big the ADU can be. It's super confusing, but that's kind of how you have to work through it. So the side interior and side street side, so you have to come in 5 feet from the sides, and from the rear, that's where the alley is, you have to come in 5 feet as well. And then there's some other, this is how big your footprint can be. So say if you had a really tiny house on the front when we were doing this exercise, and you could still, you'll only limit it to 1,000 square feet or 800 square feet. So they limit you in 2 different ways for your building footprint. And then the length of the ADU has to be 36 or less, basically. So that's it. I hope you guys learned something. If you have any questions, feel free to leave me a comment in the link below. And if you liked this stuff, give me a thumbs up. And if you really liked it, go ahead and subscribe to my page. I'm going to be producing more content like this for ADUs, specifically here in Denver. And I'm happy to help in any way. So hope you found this valuable, and